Welcome to the Thrive Co podcast, exploring the inner side of success. I am your host, Nikki, and each week we will explore the mindset shifts, personal growth, and everyday tools that will help you to navigate ambition, manage stress, and build a life that actually feels good on the inside. Through solo episodes and honest guest conversations, we look at what it really takes to grow, change, and thrive in the modern world. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Thrive Co. I hope you're all doing good. Did you think I died, guys? Did you think that I had fallen off the face of the earth and was never going to be seen again? I apologise. Do you know what? Yeah, I do apologise for missing a week and not saying anything about it. However, I think I said when I started this new job a couple of 3-4 weeks ago that I was going to have to really check in with like my energy, and there might be weeks that I couldn't record. Things are really super full in terms of my week. I'm trying not to use the word busy, which is a whole episode in itself. But yeah, I feel like there may be, from time to time, I'm hopefully not going to make a habit of it, times where the week just goes by and I don't get the opportunity to record. I am literally back to back in meetings now all day, every day, which is great. And I'm absolutely loving it. But it means very, very little time for, I used to podcast during the day, and my lunch hours now are a quick half hour to grab some food, take Marley outside. It's very, very different days. So whilst I'm absolutely loving it, the energy that it's taken from me, especially at the moment, whilst I'm kind of getting my head around everything and just embracing a new way of working and structuring my week, means that I haven't got as much time or as much time when I've got energy to record. So I'm actually recording this on the Saturday before it goes out on Monday, which is something that I can definitely try and do in the weeks where I'm really busy in the week. So I'm going to try not to make a habit of missing weeks. However, it might happen. And do you know what? I have to live by what I preach and talk about so much. And that is like setting boundaries and being able to live in alignment with your own energy and do what makes you feel good whilst still upholding your responsibilities. So as much as this podcast is my baby and I love it, there are times when I'm going to have to just have weeks where it just doesn't happen. So just throwing it out there. However, it's been a good week. It's been a really, really good week, and I hope yours has too. So there's something that I wanted to chat about today that I think maybe because of the time of the year and just having more time to reflect and more time to just, I guess, enjoy the little things. And by little things, I mean, I was sitting outside the other day and Molly was just sat there sniffing the air and looking at the sprinkler. And then we'll go on a walk and we'll see all the nature, and I'll just take in like the butterflies and the river and, all of the smaller things in life feel like they come alive in the summer. There's just so much more appreciation, I think, for what we have when life's lived outside. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but that is how I feel. And I actually heard a quote the other day, and it's a quote that I've heard kind of variations of before, but it said, life is made up mainly of average Tuesdays. And what it basically meant, what it was alluding to, is the fact that most of our life is average days. And when I say average, I don't mean they're boring. Life is fucking miracle, right? But what I'm saying is the majority of life is not big holidays and adventures and weddings and babies being born. The majority of life for the majority of people is all of the stuff in between those big occasions. It's the average Tuesday that you're going to work. It's dinner with your family or your spouse or your partner. it's taking your dog for a walk. You know, it's not the big occasions that we mark life in. It's not those milestones. You know, generally speaking, life is your job and your friendship circle and the stuff that you do day in, day out. It's your habits and it's your appreciation of the small things. And if you don't have appreciation of the small things and you're just constantly living from, you know, looking forward to the next big event or the next occasion or the next holiday, if your happiness depends on those extraordinary moments, you're going to spend most of your life waiting to feel happy. And I think this really struck with me lately because so many people go on holiday certainly, you know, in the UK in the summer, not go on holiday in the UK, but people from the UK tend to go abroad in the summer. And it's always something that they are, don't get me wrong, looking forward to, of course. Like, I'm looking forward to my holiday so much, but it's almost like their entire summer is based around that one holiday and that one occasion, and everything else is just leading up to that. And then everything after that is just memories of that. And actually, that's like 1 week, 10 days, maybe 2 weeks if you're, you know, really lucky and you've managed to take 2 weeks off straight. But on the whole summer is, you know, what, 3-4 months long? It's all of the moments before and after that holiday that are making up your summer. Like winter, you know, yes, Christmas is great, the Christmas break, but actually all of the moments leading up to that, all of the, you know, the winter months after Christmas, they're all your life. And if you're constantly living from one occasion to the next, one big milestone, looking forward to something and wishing your life away and not appreciating the days in between, then that is where you're going to start to feel like everything's mundane and everything's just, I guess, a bit boring. And I think it's highlighted so much in the summer as well, because people do tend to go on holiday. And, you know, I see people post things like, oh, I wish I was back here. And yeah, of course, like, gosh, don't I wish that instead of sitting in my gym room now recording a podcast that I was in Bali or Thailand? Absolutely. However, I'm so grateful at this moment that I get to do this. I get to have a creative outlet, that I get to share my experiences and the things that I'm learning with you guys who are tuning in, and, you know, how much I appreciate that. And it just feels sometimes like we are so easy, and I think it's more so the British than any other culture that I've ever come across, are constantly just waiting for the next event or milestone or holiday or occasion. Like when I was younger, it was like wishing the week away for the weekend. And now it's more like, you know, yeah, holidays and seeing friends and things like that. And actually sitting down the other day and just watching my dog sniff the air and have his little thoughts and watch the sprinkler. And I was just sat there thinking, like, these are the good old days. These are the days that when I'm old, I'm going to look back and think, both of my parents are still alive. My nephews are really little. Marley's here with us. We're living in a gorgeous house. We've both got great jobs with great incomes and, you know, our health. At some point in the future, most of those things are going to change. And it's so easy to just think how, like, to just look forward to things and to just constantly be like chasing the next thing. And it's funny as well, because I was listening to another podcast the other day. It was Get a Grip with Angela Scanlon and Vicky Patterson. Great crack. If you've not heard it, a bit more girly than for the lads, but it's really, really funny. And they were saying how holidays have become so performative now that it's like, you know, picture of your airport outfit, got to get all your prep done before, picture of your Instagrammable breakfast. You know, you spend so much time, not everybody, but, you know, a lot of people spend so much time like taking pictures and they're on their phone on social media, and you're not actually going and disconnecting and enjoying and being in the moment, because you're thinking about how it looks to people back home. So you've spent all this time wishing and dreaming and, you know, kind of can't wait for this holiday. And then you get there and actually you're not even really in the moment enjoying it. And I thought, how true is that? I'm actually not too bad at that. There used to be a time when I would go away and leave my phone at home. Obviously, with kind of how digital everything is now, like the last holiday we went on, we had to scan QR codes for the meal. So without a phone, you'd be a bit screwed. But I'm going to try next time I go away this summer to put my phone in the safe in the room and not get it out until the evening, and actually just read a book and enjoy the views and the, you know, the ambience and the disconnection, and just be in the moment. There's something that is called glimmers. So it's like the opposite of seeing the bad in things. So instead of seeing like all of the negatives, seeing the glimmers basically means that you see the little moments of joy in your life. So like what I was saying about Marley sniffing the air and just taking it all in. And actually your RAS, your reticular activating system, will pick up on more of the things that are important to you and recognize like stimulus. We've got so much going on around us all the time that we can't even take like 1% of it in. So our reticular activating system in our brain will filter out the things that we don't need. So like, let's say, you know, you're about to get a puppy, you'll suddenly see like dogs of that breed everywhere, or you'll start to get Instagram posts about that, and you'll start to notice dogs like that in the park, or you'll realize that your friend's got a dog like that, or, you know, all these things that happen because it's now in your like field of like interest. It's like your mind's algorithm. And actually, if you program it to look for the glimmers in life and the little things, like when your coffee's perfect in the morning, or if you're doing your hair and it goes really well, or if somebody on the street smiles at you on your way to work or on a dog walk, all of those little things are like tiny things that are so easy to miss in the moment if our mind is somewhere else, or if we've got our face in our phone. And those little glimmers are the things that make our average days and our life the good old days, you know, the moments of joy. And those are the things that I've been really trying to like take notice of and lock onto lately, because that quote is so true. Like, our life is made up mainly of average Tuesdays. It's made up of every single habit, our job, the, you know, phone calls with our families, the nights and weekends with our kids. It's important that we enjoy those and that we make them as exciting as a holiday or a trip away or Christmas. And yes, of course, you know, that isn't to say you've got to enjoy every single day of your life. Shit stuff happens. You know, if you've been here for a while, I've got shit stuff happening in my family life at the moment that, you know, we can't do anything about right now. And that's not to say that every day needs to be like a freaking Disney film, but to actually just really notice the good things and to create good habits to be able to enjoy each and every day rather than waiting for those big occasions. That's your life. Like, that is your life. And I think for me, this sort of showed up a little bit when I still had my business, and it was tough because as much as I enjoyed running my business, there was so much that was making me anxious and so much that I was really missing, like the team connection and working in the sector that I just loved all the time instead of multiple sectors, and just having that like team camaraderie and shared goal. And it stopped me from enjoying every day. It stopped me from making the most of every day and really enjoying the work as much, because there was things there that were just making me anxious and were making me unhappy. And I think when you have something that is constantly making you feel that way, it's really hard to make every day feel like happy and content. And so if there is something now that's like that, if it's your relationship or a friendship, or maybe you are, just not enjoying your job, or maybe you're in the situation that I was in, running your own business, and, you're holding on to it for ego, or because you feel like it's not quite done yet, but actually, that it's really, really making you feel, a certain way, then I really do urge you to just have a think about what you can do to get rid of or to let go of some of those things. Because the minute that I got myself into, and don't get me wrong, like, my job now is definitely high pressured and stressful in lots of ways, but it's not in the same way that it was before. And I can have my weekends and I can disconnect, and I've got a team around me to help me make decisions and pick things up. And it's not all on my shoulders. And that for me is the biggest difference. So I can now see those little glimmers. I can feel like they are the good old days, I can really see that. And, tonight after I finish recording this, we've got some healthy snacks in, and we've got some non-alcoholic drinks in, and we're going to settle down on the sofa and watch a film. And like, that to me is something that I cherish, because I've realised that actually it's not going to be like that forever, because, we're going to get older, we're going to lose Marley at some point, can't even think about that. And you have to just enjoy those moments. And it's so easy when we're on autopilot, especially if you've got kids, I think. Well, I'm not a mom, but I know friends and family that are. And it's so easy to just go on autopilot, get through the day. And sometimes you do have to do that, right? But those little moments where you can just stop and actually think, they're not going to be this age forever. And actually the moments that you can just really enjoy, that's your life. Like, those moments are your life. And actually, I'd probably go as far as to say, if you've got kids and you're going on holiday, probably more stressful than parenting at home, let's be honest, until they get to a certain age. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really feeling reflective this week. I've had lots and lots of those moments where I've just seen the glimmers and been able to enjoy my everyday again, enjoy putting more sort of work outfits, if you like, on, because I'm doing more face-to-face meetings now and video calls, and enjoying making myself feel nice and having a coffee outside in the morning. That's been an amazing one with the weather as it's been, and going on evening dog walks. And then I think as the seasons change, there's different glimmers to enjoy. But if you're feeling like your everyday life, like you're just getting by because you're looking forward to the holiday or Christmas or that trip away or seeing your friends, then of course you can look forward to that stuff, but it's the bits in between that you really need to be focusing on. It's those everyday, your job, your family, all of the stuff that makes up your kind of mundane, if you like, because that's your life. That is your life. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like that will have landed with some of you. I think some of you will be like, yeah, obviously, Nikki, like, duh, you're not telling us anything new. But sometimes it's just a reminder, isn't it? I saw that quote about average Tuesdays and I was like, yeah, do you know what? Actually, that will stay with me, because I've seen quotes before that say like, oh, your life is the bits in between the milestones, or your life's in between the holidays and the vacations. And it hasn't landed like that quote did. And I'll always remember that now. Average Tuesdays. Make your average Tuesday something that you enjoy, and then the bigger occasions will just be the cherry on top. And there'll be things that you remember, and there'll be things that you can look back on and tell stories about, and you'll have the photos of and the videos of. But actually, when you're old and you're on your deathbed, you're probably going to remember the Saturday nights that you spent cuddled up on the sofa with your family or your dog, or the rainy walks that you took, or maybe, the job that you did and the friends and the colleagues that became friends. That's your life, and that's the shit that you want to focus on. So I hope that landed for some of you anyway, I definitely feel like this is going to be a Marmite episode of some people kind of getting it, some people being like, well, that was pointless, but it's something that I've experienced very recently, and yeah, if it lands for me, then maybe it'll land for some of you. But as always, please go and follow the podcast. It means that it downloads straight into your podcast platform when it comes out every Monday, and you get a notification. So not only does it mean that you won't miss it, but it also means that it helps me out like more than you'll ever know. Please do share on social media as well. Send it to a friend. I always put the link on Instagram. So go and follow the Instagram account. It's Nikki_thrive_co. And yeah, if you have any feedback, any topics you want me to cover, then just drop me a message. I'm always all ears. And have a fantastic week. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you are following the podcast, and don't forget to share episodes with a friend who may need it.